it's Megan, and today I wanted to chat with you about the TV shows that I've been watching lately that I really have just needed to talk about. And I have quite a few actually from HBO. I've been really getting into watching some of their older shows and some of their newer shows. And of course, I'm gonna talk about Game of Thrones because how could I not? And then I wanna talk about some shows I've been watching on Netflix and Amazon Prime. And then I'll get into the shows that I'm most excited about watching next. And as always, please leave your TV show recommendations down below. I will pretty much try any TV show. I don't need to know what it's about, but I'll give pretty much anything a chance. And so if you have any recommendations of shows you've been loving lately, please let me know down below. So let's start with HBO. I won't start with Game of Thrones because I just don't want to go there yet, but Barry is phenomenal. Like, I don't know if there's another show that I thoroughly enjoy as much as Barry. Like, there's never an episode where I'm like, we could have done without that. It is seriously so thought out. I love Bill Hader and everything that he does. And I don't know, he just made a show that combined two things that I adore, which is comedy and like murder, mystery, like thriller type shows. So the fact that he did that, it seems like it was created just for me. It's a very, very intense at some point. So if you don't like to see violence, you will not like watching this show. But for those of us that don't mind that as much, you will love the show. You will laugh. You will be like scared out of your mind. Like, there are so many times when I'm on the edge of my bed or the couch and just like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And there's just like some really amazing endings to his episodes, like that you never saw coming. There's just so many twists and turns. It is so fun, so entertaining. And if you've never watched Barry, there's 2 full seasons. The second season just wrapped up and I cannot wait for season 3. I am just dying for it. I know it's gonna take like a year and I don't know if I can last that long. I honestly don't. So if you've never watched it, go watch it. You'll get hooked right away. Another show that I watched on HBO that is a mini series that I wish there was more to, but I'm so satisfied by the ending, is Sharp Objects. My friend Kristen at work told me about this and I was like, I don't know, it's been on my list. I'm not sure why I'm not like attracted to it. I don't know anything about it, but nothing was pushing me to watch it. But then she watched it and she was like, Megan, you have to watch it this weekend, like right away. So I started it. And it was, I think I watched it right after I finished rewatching Game of Thrones to get ready for the 8th season. And so I was like in the HBO like app and stuff. So I was like, okay, let's see what else is in here. And I saw Sharp Objects and I love Amy Adams. So I was like, okay, let's give this a shot. There are some episodes where I'm like, okay, we could have like done without some of this. Like, there is definitely some triggering elements in here, like alcoholism and self-harm. So those things are definitely disturbing and hard to watch. So I wish like the first few episodes would have been either condensed or different. But once you get to like the 3rd or 4th episode, holy shit, this show is wild. The ending, I never saw the ending coming. It was so surprising. And there's not a lot of shows that truly surprise me anymore. Like, there is, of course, like suspenseful elements in all shows that I watch, but a lot of the times, like, you can see the end coming. Like, you can pinpoint maybe who is, like, for this show, who's like the criminal that did these terrible things. And it was just so surprising and satisfying, and I literally, like, when it ended, I was like, oh, and it like cuts to black and you're like, I need more, I need a second season, but they're not gonna give it to us. And that's almost, I don't know, that's almost like more satisfying to know like you can kind of put the puzzle together yourself and not wait for them to give you all the answers. It's just a really, really cool show. Totally shocked me, and it was just like, and I thought about it for like days after finishing watching it. I almost rewatched it right away, but definitely those first few episodes do like deter me from rewatching. So that is something to take into consideration. If you don't love it right off the bat, try to power through and get to like the 3rd or 4th episode, and I think once you get there, you'll be totally hooked. I guess it's time to talk about Game of Thrones. So Game of Thrones wrapped up its 8th season, wrapped up the whole show. And man, how disappointing of like a finale ever. Like just the whole last season just like left so much to be desired and just changed the whole way that Game of Thrones used to be. Like it's not even similar to how it used to be, and there's just so many things that aren't explained and that could have been. But of course they chose to do 6 episodes instead of like 8 or 10, which I still like am so pissed about. Like you had the choice to do 10 episodes, but you chose to do 6, and that definitely ruined it because it was rushed. And I'm not happy about who got on the throne in the end. I'm satisfied with Jon Snow, kind of. Not his final thing, but what he did about the midway point of the episode. Like the first half of the last episode was so amazing, and I was like, oh my god, we're getting back to our roots, this is gonna be incredible. And then when it cuts to black and I hate time jumps. Like what was that? Like I am still so mad about that. And I just can't believe they did that. But what happened after the time jump, like just throw it all away except for Sansa. Like she and her like character arc and where she ended up, yes, give it to me. Go girl, you deserve it. You have been through hell and back. And I was so satisfied with her like ending. Everything else, I was like, what the hell was that? Like, I still can't believe it. But me and a bunch of my coworkers and some of my friends have talked about it, and we all kind of feel the same way, where we're just like emotionally numb. Like we used to feel so connected to Game of Thrones, and now we're just like, whatever. Like, I guess that's it. And that totally sucks to feel that way about a show that was truly revolutionary and so different than anything that we've seen on TV. And then for it to be like wrapped up in this way, I just don't think was very true to itself. And I don't know, there's nothing that can be done about it, but you know, I wish it went a different direction. But I will definitely rewatch Game of Thrones one day. Like, I'm not in the mood to do it right now because I'm still a little pissed. But I know one day I will definitely, and probably multiple times throughout my lifetime, I will rewatch the series and just marvel at how much they did and how much they changed the world of television. And I think something else that bothered me about the 8th season is they were so focused on like the production and having the biggest spectacles, and they weren't really focused on the writing and the plot and the story that they have built over 10 years. And yeah, the production is incredible. Like all of the people that work on that show are like seriously geniuses and super hard workers, but I need a better story, you guys. Like that's what I'm here for. I'm here for the story. So anyway, Game of Thrones, I'm sure everyone is sick of hearing about it, but those are my thoughts. A show that really, really surprised me, and that honestly has like some Game of Thrones twists and turns that I never would have expected in like a high school like drama type of show, is The Society. And this is a new show on Netflix that I heard on a podcast, the Watch podcast, and I was just like, what is this show? And so I watched it in 2 days. I loved it. I could not believe some of the shit that happened in this show, and it is just so surprising. Like if you're craving a very shocking, like you can't see what's coming type of show, definitely check out The Society. I think it's really well written, and we'll see if there's a second season. They definitely set it up for there to be a second season, and there seems to be a huge cult following on Instagram at least, so hopefully that there is. So I'm really looking forward to that. And it's like a kind of end of the world movie with high schoolers, and I don't really want to say the plot. Like there's a plot line on Netflix, but as you guys know, I like going into shows blind, so I didn't really know what was going to happen. And I think that's more satisfying. Like, even though you basically find out what happens within the first 10 minutes, like, I like for there to be that surprise element. So I'm not gonna say much, but if you like suspenseful shows, like, you don't really mind like violence and sex and stuff, like there's definitely a lot of that in this show, I think you would love it. It's honestly so surprising and so good. A show that I watched on Netflix that I didn't even finish like the 3rd episode of is Dead to Me. And I was really interested in the show because I really like Christina Applegate, and the first episode, like the end of the first episode is just like, holy shit, like I can't believe it. But once like the 2nd episode comes around, I'm like, okay, I get the plot, like I know what the twist is, and I'm sure there will be interesting elements throughout the season, but it just wasn't enough for me to want to keep watching it. Like, it wasn't that interesting to me or that entertaining to me. I do think the first episode is really surprising and good. Like, I think of the first episode as like a short story, and like the end of the first episode is like the end, and you're like, holy shit, and it's like really satisfying and awesome. And I feel like you don't need like a whole season about that same story, because you kind of know now what's gonna happen. But it was okay. I just wanted to mention it, that I didn't really love it, but maybe you'll love it. I rewatched Dark on Netflix, which is one of my absolute favorite Netflix shows, and I've talked about it a lot, so I don't want to go into it too much, but it's like a sci-fi thriller drama, again with like kid actors. I love kid actors. Like, there is just something really satisfying about seeing like young people with so much talent at like acting and stuff. Like, it is so cool. So it's just such a cool show, you guys. If you've never watched Dark, definitely watch it, because the 2nd season is coming out soon, in I think in a few weeks, like June 21st. So definitely watch it, because I think you would really, really love it, especially if we have similar taste in TV. It's a German show, and I watch it with English dubbing. I know some people prefer subtitles, so I think there's both options, but it's a very just like interesting and well thought out show. Like, there's not plot holes, like there really can't be, because it's just such like a big scale idea that they really had to figure out how to make it come to life. I don't want to say anything that spoils it, so yeah, it's just really, really well done. It's super interesting, and I just can't wait for the 2nd season. I think it's going to be baller. And then the last show that I've watched lately is on Amazon Prime, and it's Fleabag. And so I've only watched the 1st season. I watched it all in one night, because it's like about 30 minutes each episode, and it was 6 episodes. So very bingeable. And the 2nd season is available, and that's like the next show that I'm gonna watch, because now that I'm like into the character and into the story, I can't wait for season 2. And I honestly never heard about it before, but now that the 2nd season is out, I've heard quite a few people mention it. So Fleabag, I don't even know how to like explain Fleabag. It's like a comedy, but it's like a dark comedy. It has a lot of emotions like packed into these small episodes or short episodes, and it is like funny at some points, because the main character is just like hilarious and just a super interesting character that we don't normally see on TV. And it's just kind of satisfying to see something that you don't, like, see someone portray that you don't normally on television. So I am really looking forward to season 2. If you've never heard of Fleabag, I would give it a shot, especially because of how like small the time commitment is. Even if you don't absolutely love it, I think you would enjoy it for those few hours. And yeah, so that was like a cool one that I never heard of, but thanks to podcasts, I heard about it. So love that. Okay, so on my next shows to watch, I have Fleabag season 2, and then I have all HBO shows, because I'm just really, really into HBO right now, and I subscribed to be able to watch Game of Thrones, and now I'm just really enjoying all their different content, and just like, where was I all those years? I honestly think that it's a better subscription than pretty much any other like of those additional services. Like, I had CBS All Access for a while, and I got it exclusively for the new Twilight Zone, and I just honestly wasn't very impressed with the episodes as I watched more and more. So I just gave up on that. I unsubscribed, and I don't miss it at all. I don't hear anyone talking about the new Twilight Zone anymore. I was honestly really surprised that it wasn't as spectacular as I thought that it would be, especially with Jordan Peele as part of it. But whatever, it's all good. It saved me some money. So now I'm just subscribed to Netflix, Hulu. Hulu's probably my favorite right now. HBO, and I have Amazon Prime, so I get those shows as well. But HBO, my list of shows to watch very, very soon are Big Little Lies. The new season is coming out soon, so I want to rewatch the first season, which I believe it's a short season, like 6 or 8 episodes. What a great show. I am so excited for the next season. I like, with the huge cast that I already have, I can't believe we're also getting Meryl Streep. Like, my mind is just blown. Like, what a treat for all of us. So I cannot wait for Big Little Lies season 2. I've been hearing a lot about Deadwood, which I never heard of before. Again, from the podcast The Watch. I love that podcast if you love TV, and Andy and Chris are just like the most hilarious people on earth, and they have mentioned Deadwood as like it's coming out with a movie, I guess, and that it's like one of their favorite and like the best shows that's ever been made. Apparently it aired in like the early 2000s when I literally did not give a shit about TV. I watched like House and Monk, which are amazing, but like I didn't actively seek out television. So Deadwood, I am going to check it out. I don't know anything about it. I just have these really high expectations, and so I'm curious to see what it's like. And then a new show that's going to be on HBO that I'm really curious about and just intrigued by the trailers is Euphoria. And Zendaya is the main actress, and I love her. I think that she is just so cool, and like, I don't know. I'm just like, what is this show gonna be like? It looks gorgeous from all of the trailers. It looks like pretty colors and just like very, I don't know, looks amazing. So I'm really looking forward to that. I believe that comes out very soon, so I'll definitely be checking that out. But those are all the shows I wanted to talk to you guys about for the past few months that I've been watching. Definitely let me know your favorite TV shows currently or of all time. I would love to hear about it. I love talking about TV. And if you like hearing about TV, definitely subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys really soon. Bye.